I've got bad news and good news. First, the bad. The doomsday clock is currently set at 2.5 minutes to midnight, which is the closest the world has been to monumental catastrophe for the last 64 years. We can thank nuclear weapons, climate change and Donald Trump for that scary scenario. But the good news is, it's not too late to protect yourself against the looming threats. And there are plenty of so-called doomsday preppers doing just that. They're building bunkers and bolt holes and filling them up with everything they need to withstand the disintegration of civilization. Which brings me to some more bad news. The cost of survival doesn't come cheap.
All eyes are on Hurricane Sandy.
Nearly a year after the deadly Deepwater Horizon explosion, finger pointing.
Met with an Ebola patient who recovered.
The fake news.
Financial security of all Americans.
In a remote and dusty pocket of Kansas, also known as Tornado Alley, I'm heading to a place that's much more than shelter from a storm. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Peter Stefanovic here from 60 Minutes. I've got an appointment with Larry.
Okay. Beyond this point, you're subject to search, so I just want to make you aware of that. So we'll give him a call and let him know that you're here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Heavy security forms the basis of this survivalist compound. A luxury bunker for the super rich who are convinced catastrophe is just around the corner. As the condo's mastermind and developer, Larry Hall is the man you want to know if doomsday ever happens.
Welcome to the Survival Condo.
Nice to be here.
Come on in.
Okay. You must get some pretty interesting theories about what this place is, right?
Oh yeah, we've heard it all. We've heard that we're doing alien autopsies here. We've heard that we're doing genetic research here. We've had all types of theories.
So this is not Area 51? There's no UFO sightings around here?
Nope, a little further west for that. A little further west.
It mightn't look like much from the outside, but inside is a completely different world. This disused missile silo is now home to a virtual underground palace that drops 15 stories deep.
Going down.
We're gonna go from 1 down to 15, and that's 201 feet to the bottom.
As Dorothy said to Toto in The Wizard of Oz,
I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
Here we are. It's a nuclear-hardened luxury condominium complex. Instead of protecting a nuclear warhead, I'm protecting families.
there are a dozen private and luxurious apartments here worth up to $4 million each. But there's so much more to post-apocalypse living. A hospital, schoolrooms for the kids, and rock climbing for the adventurous. There's a cinema, of course. The most important room.
Spend a lot of time here.
Yeah, I bet. And even a tropical concrete paradise.
The beach. But we've got a kids' water slide and waterfall in here. So it's a little piece of the tropics right here, right here in central Kansas.
When crisis strikes, SWAT-style trucks will pick up owners within a 600-kilometre radius.
So this is the food store. And
once safely inside, residents and their families can live here, off the grid, indefinitely. Do you think after a while people might start to crave, you know, a fresh apple or some fresh fruit of any kind?
Well, that's what we grow in the hydroponics.
You got that covered?
Yeah.
The facility is fully stocked with weapons and ammunition. There's even a shooting range for practice.
I got spurs that jingle, jangle, jingle.
Were the foundations of this particular place built on an element of paranoia, of fear that something extreme is going to happen to us?
Not intentionally. I think what we're looking at is there's an increasing array of threats, like tornadoes and hurricanes and solar flares and pandemics and terrorism and food shortages. There's so many things that happen every day all around the world, and people are just like hoping it doesn't happen to them. But what if it does?
Isn't building a facility like this one, though, just a tad extreme?
I'm not sure what you mean by the extreme. What do you mean by that?
Well, that a comet's going to land on a city, that we might well be going back to the dinosaur age.
But 2 years ago, there was a comet that exploded over the Soviet Union with the force of a 3-kiloton nuclear weapon. So how far-fetched is that? It just happened 2 years ago.
But what are the chances of it happening again?
Pretty good.
There's a man going round taking names.
It's not just comets and space junk that's got Larry's wealthy clients so spooked. It's also this: global terrorism, race riots, topsy-turvy financial markets, and natural disasters.
When the man comes around.
All we're doing is saying, hey, let's have a environmentally green, friendly, doomsday type structure that somebody can invest in, use it as a second home, that also happens to be a world-class nuclear hardened bunker.
But not every wealthy survivalist thinks hunkering down in a former missile silo is necessary or even smart. In California's Silicon Valley, planning for chaos is now considered cool. This prepping stuff is starting to become a bit trendy.
Absolutely. And it's so great to be able to talk about this, because really until just the very recent past, it was very hard for anybody to talk about this in civil society, right? Nobody.
Crazy guy.
No, crazy guy, tinfoil hat guy. And what's been very nice is the story is beginning to get out there that serious people, real people, take this stuff seriously. These are smart people. They're leaders that we look to and respect. If they're doing this, they must know something that we don't.
Adam Taggart is a former Yahoo executive. In the aftermath of the global financial crisis, he gave up the rat race of Silicon Valley to be a full-time prepper. He now lives in his version of a doomsday compound, a fully self-sufficient property with farm animals and fresh produce.
We've got our little lambs there, and then we have our chickens, who you can hear in the back there.
What is your view of what doomsday could be?
Personally, I would not be surprised to see something pretty dislocative to the world economy happen within the next 2 years, potentially even within the next year. So that's a big one.
GFC Mark II.
Exactly, yeah. And actually we think substantially worse.
Adam runs a prepper website called Peak Prosperity. Its readers include hedge fund managers and technology executives who are all planning for troubled times ahead. So this is actually a thing.
It's a real thing.
How big is the movement?
It's much larger than you would expect. This is going to happen. And so from my perspective, it's much better to be a year early than a day late. Once the crisis arrives is when it's too late to do anything about it.
But a surge of wealthy preppers has already done something about it. They've crossed the South Pacific to what they consider is the ultimate doomsday destination. Something that's often worked against New Zealand is its isolation, but that's exactly what makes it so attractive as an ideal safe haven. In a country where sheep outnumber people 6 to 1, it's everything America is not. It's remote, it's underpopulated, and it's far away from the rest of the world's problems. Queenstown has become a new hotspot for backup plans. With all due respect, of all places, why are people coming to Queenstown?
They want that second option, you know, that backstop to perhaps if the button is pushed over in the US and there is problems, or politically it does take a strong twist, that they have got their jets on standby. They can come down here to their safe haven and get on with their day-to-day life without any major intrusions.
Gee, it's beautiful out here, isn't it?
Well, bad place to be.
Real estate agent Stacey Coburn has seen a spike in wealthy American clients splashing out millions of dollars on beautiful lakeside mansions in case one day they're needed.
The only bunkers you'll find over here are actually in the golf courses.
You mentioned that some of your clients there have got the private jet on standby. What sort of clients are we talking about?
Well, some of these guys are oil and gas out of Texas. We've got a number of people out of Silicon Valley, New York based. Certainly a lot of the high flyers up there, we're definitely on their radar.
People where some 14, 15 million bucks ain't a problem.
I think for some it's petty cash.
Back in Kansas, demand for luxury survivalist compounds is so strong, Larry Hall is building another one. It's a hollowed-out missile silo for now.
Hello!
But in the next few years, it'll look and feel just like the one he's already built. Florida property developer Tyler Allen has already snapped one up.
Is $3 million a lot for you?
Not really.
Touche. So, do you feel lucky that you're able to have this option?
I feel smart. You know, this is nothing more than a plan, a place to go to protect your family, to conduct business if and when a threat arises. If you can't afford this, make a plan to go somewhere else. To not be prepared is kind of stupid to me.
Till Armageddon.
Now you get to see how much we've gotten done.
As the whole end of days concept is argued, one thing is for sure. Larry Hall is a smart businessman, and Armageddon has made him a fortune.
The silo itself is in remarkable condition.
And if no crisis ever arrives, at least it's a unique place to holiday.
A lot of people, oh, if doomsday comes, well, I want to remind people that there are a lot of scenarios that go from Superstorm Sandy, where you lose your infrastructure and your water for a couple months, to a dinosaur extinction level event. Everyone wants to focus on that dinosaur extinction level event, but what about everything in between? And that's what we're all about, is everything in between.
But it will withstand when there's a zombie apocalypse.
We are zombie proof. Yep, we are zombie proof. So we got that going for us.